Right, I'm hitting the start button now, but there is always this little lag at the very beginning, so it's telling me it's only just been started. So with that said, good morning, I'm Matt and welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. I think we're working. It tells me that I'm working over here on the left hand side, but there's always a little lag. So if you're joining in with the live version, do me a favour on the right hand side of your screen. Can you just let me know in the chat if the audio is nice and clear and everything is happy days. Good morning. Can't stop long as work beckons. Oh, bummer. Sorry to hear that, Julian. And by the way, you'll see me looking over there. I'm looking at your chat, which you can see going on above my head. Happy days. Right. Good morning. That's good so far. Thank you, gents. Now, you may or may not have been to one of these RC Coffee Chats before, and believe it or not, we are now up to episode 197. Unbelievable. There was a point in time when we were doing these every single weekday. Somebody likes a lot of coffee, and somebody also likes an awful lot of RC. Now, with that said, these RC Coffee Chats are an opportunity for us to just catch up with what's been going on over the past week or so here in the flight hangar and what's been going on in the outside world as far as new foam goes. So if you are also a foamaholic, then you found yourself a new home. If you're not, then this might not be the most appropriate video for you. Now, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Killer Dave, as well. Now, I've got to put my hands up. I've kind of forgotten about Shout Out Corner. You're going to have to excuse me, I'm a little bit rusty today. Anyway, not that rusty, because I do have a notes list of what we're going to be covering here live this morning. First one is My Little Boney. I'm sure you know the model which I'm talking about there. If you don't, cracking little model. Less Than Super. And I'm guessing you already know which model I'm talking about for that one. Next one is a serious question. Where is all the foam gone? Serious question. For the last couple of months, we've had a real serious foam shortage. Next three are actually questions for you. What did you think of the Harrier? And what about the Bonsai 2, which I didn't put in my notes. I'll put Bonsai 2 in there. And what about the news? The Sidewinder has been released as well. We'll be covering that too. The next one is 45 to 55. What? We'll look at that in a moment. Another topic is self-sponsorship and no effing ads. We will be having a quick catch-up on a side project which I've been working on. And the last two is that number one is my bad. I made a bit of a whoopsie. And I also made another whoopsie as well. And we'll be covering those two at the very end. So with that said, did we just see a riff in there as well? Yo, riff! Hello. Sorry, you can see the chat at the top. I'm just catching up with some names which are spinning past the chat box. Now, right, let's talk about My Little Boney. Now, what model am I talking about? I am talking about the Mini Skywalker. Now, I actually have two of these, and the other one's over in the window, and it's been there for at least a year. It's been there for so long, there's cobwebs on it. And I did fly it for a bit, the original one, and then just never really paid it any attention. And I think that was a mistake. Because every time we go to the funny farm, Colin's always there flying his budgie, and we've stuffed it in bushes, trees and whatever else, and he's still flying his budgie. And you'll get like stupid amounts of flight time out of it, like 20 minutes plus. Absolute nuts. So I thought it was about time I got myself a budgie, although it didn't turn up to be a budgie in the end, because my eldest daughter came out and I showed her yeah, look, you can just, it's just... it's just blurting out on that camera. All the colours have just gone to pot. It is about that bright in real life. It is very, very bright to say the least. Anyway, it's Little Mini Skywalker. It's about, I don't know, a metre wingspan-ish. It probably tells us on that, 840 millimetres, 84 centimetres. It is covered in poo. You can see that on there. And this little, tiny little 1806 motor on the back. Little, what are they, 1440 Ace little servos all the way around. I did set mine up with a rudder, so I am a cheetah lemurine-eater when it comes to rudder on this one. Unbelievably, you can make this knife edge. I think I've got some video footage of one of these being knife edged. And Andy also set his up with rudder as well. Man was able to knife edges as well. It's quite a peculiar knife edge as it goes across the screen, but it's very, very bemusing. You can actually fit a wide range of batteries in the nose, believe it or not. Now, I have put Lion packs in my nose in this one, a 2S pack. Those worked really well. I got bored and landed it in the end, so it does about 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes in the sky, because it is very low current draw. Well, if you're not completely just full throttle knacking around the sky. But you can also put 3S's in the nose as well. And I did put some covering film on the canopy as well, but I've not set this one up for FPV yet. Completely bonkers in any good wind condition, but you do need to do the tail mod to it, which is to put some carbon fibre in the tail. As you can see, there's some carbon fibre rods in here. I did a separate video on those because otherwise it's just, all T-tail models are just so fragile to the point that they're almost just like a waste of money. But that one, sort it out, put a bit of carbon in the back. Happy days, happy days. Mark says, have you ever wrecked a plane before it's maiden? The hope, the confidence which you have in me. No, I've not wrecked a model before it's maiden. I've wrecked a model on its maiden, that's for sure. But no, not before actually throwing it in the sky. At least as not as I can remember. Now we're gonna be doing like a little bit of a roller coaster ride today, because we've just seen a really good model, because it's only like 18 quid or less. All right, super cheap model, super good fun. Okay, now that was a high. We now need a low. Now I'm actually going to say that this model has been specifically designed to fail, because it is flawed in more ways than one. So this is the less than super Kinetic, which I strongly urge you never to buy, because it is a complete waste of money. I frankly bought this for a laugh, and knew that it might last me 2 flights. Well, if it lasted any more than 2 flights, then I would be impressed, and it lasted me 3 flights, but technically I broke it on the 2nd flight. And you will see the amount of pins poking out of it at this very moment in time, and you'll see black lines in there. I've put loads of extra carbon in there. Now, this model, I'm actually going to say is designed to fail. I do not feel that the requirement for the air holes in the nose is actually required, because this is only like a 3S model, and yes, you could fit a 4S in there, but you wouldn't get very much flight time because you're limited on the battery bay. So the time it takes for that motor to get hot is not enough to warrant great big gaping holes in the nose area. And also you have down the nose too, you have a hole on the top, so it's forced injection cooling anyway. So that nose section is just literally just designed to fail, as far as I'm concerned. And there's no need for that. Also, the glue which was originally used on it was terrible. I will get a video up on this. We'll have a quick nose at the moment in a minute of when it came down. And there are some profanities in there, because as you can imagine, 3 flights in and it's broken, and Matt wasn't impressed. Also, on the point of design to fail, is that what I discovered, and you can only just about see it here, there's a tray which comes out. That bottom section clips out. I only discovered it afterwards, after trying to stuff everything down the hole down the front, as you do. So I did laugh at myself afterwards, because when I threw it, this bit was hanging off, and I didn't realise what it was, and it was actually this bottom tray comes out. Now the thing is that that whole bottom tray comes out, and there's also a bloody great big gaping hole here, which they have tried to cover up with plastic, but then that caused stress issues back here, which is where it's been cracked. Just there, that whole tail section had broken off. If it had not broken there, it would have broken here, where it's weak, okay? And there's just too many points on this model which are just too weak, to say the least. And I'm actually going to save you from the profanities. I'll put it in a separate video on a mini review on this one. So yeah, I'd strongly suggest that you don't buy a Super Kinetic, because it is anything bar super. And it does carry its kinetic energy into the ground. And I did cartwheel this one, if I'm honest, and it wasn't As Andy said, that wasn't even a proper cartwheel. It just went over once like that because it tip-stalled on me as I was coming into land. And the reason why it tip-stalled on me because this whole back section was just flapping around in the sky. Yeah, bit of a shame on that one. Like I said, going to be a bit of a roller coaster today. Paul, no, what was it? Paul said on their riff says they don't crash well. You bloody well right, they don't crash very well at all. Terrible, terrible. So yeah, don't waste your money on one of those, as it's just not worth it. There's just too many issues on it. We'll fix that one up, and I'll persist. I'm going to persist with it for a while because, as much as I moan about it, it did fly okay, and I did enjoy it. And ironically, the last flight which I flew it on was a 2S, so that I could get a little bit of extra flight time on it and just chill out. Right, good morning, Phil, by the way, too. Right, moving on. Another topic. Where is all the foam gone? Now, this is a serious point, which is that from, say, October time onwards of last year to now when we are in April, is that for the last 4 or 5 months, am I the only person which has realised that there has been a distinct lack of new foam hitting the market? If you think about into last year, there was a new model probably once a week, once every 2 weeks, something like that. There was an awful lot of new foam being brought to market, or at least felt like that. Whereas that it has been a very, very slow time as of late. This whole Christmas bin, and I don't remember last Christmas being like this either. It has been a very, very slow time for models. Now, saying that, we have just had a bit of a run on some new stuff coming out, ironically from Hobby King of all places, which, happy days. I'm just glad for new foam. I've got to put my hands up. I'm really excited because there's some new foam kicking around, and what some of them may be tweaks on existing stuff, but it has felt like we've had a bit of a scratching around. For me personally, there's just not been that much in the way of new. Has it been the same for you? I don't know. Right. Cool, and I can see the chit chat going on, which is going on above my head. Anyway, what have we check on there? Next topic is, what do you think of the Harrier? So we had, actually, I'll cover the later one now. Actually, I made a mistake yesterday when it came to the Reptile Harrier and the Bonsai wing. My mistake is that I tried doing them both in a single live episode, when really I should have done them in separate videos, because those of you which were interested in the Harrier, happy days, you got to see that first. But those of you which were really interested in the Bonsai had to wait like 40 minutes for us to have a chit chat about a Bonsai. And actually, I went back and watched the Bonsai chat, and I really enjoyed it. There was a bit of a serious conversation about the placement of servos going in there, and I feel that perhaps I should not in the future do 2 models in one live episode. So I will refrain from doing that next time, unless they're very, very much related. So like doing the Harrier and the Skywalker together, that would be a logical comparison. Doing a great big FPV wing compared to a skitty thing like that, not so a good join, a good relationship to have. So my apologies for that. So I have learned from that, and I will correct that in the future. I'll try and refrain from doing that. Right. Mark Dibble says the wings fit together in a cool way. So yeah, the Harrier is very, very peculiar. I do like, it's definitely going to be a soft floaty. Look at how thick that wing cord is in there. You see that? That is absolutely huge on the end. And was it 3-4 centimeters, something nuts like that. So it's not going to be a fast model because the wing cord's too thick. But it is going to be a nice big floaty model. It's got these wings and give us plenty of lift. And there is a little bit of washout at the bottom as well, which is I've just been spotted back here on the back of the wing. And the fuselage area is pretty big. Let's take these 2 lids off. This is literally as far as I got from yesterday. And just look at the size of the fuselage in there. As we saw, we can fit a great big 5200 4S pack in there. Again, no idea if that will hit CG or not. But there's plenty of room in there for a battery and a flight controller. I like that. And side bays as well, which are not actually technically connected up. And it is all made out of molded EPP. As you saw me smash it into the desk, or one of the wings into the desk, and that worked out it worked out fine. It's molded EPP. A little side note, there's the underside. So you'll see that there's plenty of room down there. And if I put that end down, you will see there. There's the spar hole. Have I got glue on my end? Yeah. Is that glue? What is it? It's glue. There we go. You got the spar hole, but then over there you got the hole for where the wires go, and there's a whole little tray all the way along the back, so you can get your power cables out to your different components, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, somebody mentioned in the Facebook group as well, is that they liked it because you were given the option. You had the option of either running 2 motors, which frankly I don't see why you would not be running 2 motors on this one, but let's not go there. Or you could run a bigger single motor with a larger prop on the back. I would then suggest that maybe you want to carve some of these back pieces off to help with efficiency, but each to their own, in short. So yeah, Reptile Harrier, and it's not bad value for money if you consider, what was that, $70? Yeah, $70 for a lot of EPP foam. I don't think that's that bad. And again, we can also assume that may go on sale at some point in the future as well. I'm not disappointed with it, to be honest. I think that was quite a good chunk of money for the money. And the one thing which I have just been picked up is that I know that there's a glue set. There's another piece in there which you have to glue in, which will give you something to hold on underneath. But this is not going to be a underneath launcher because there's literally no hang grips underneath here. So it is definitely going to be a wing launcher from the side, not an underarm launcher, to say the least. So yeah, that's our Harrier. Kind of like it. So a quick look at your chat. Yeah, ANL says 3 motor mounts. Absolutely. Mark says the third motor with a reverse ESC for braking. Yeah, could be. Could be. Riff says, would you still cover it with film? Good question. The answer is no, probably not. What I would do is cover the leading edge with some sellotape, and I would definitely put some sellotape on the front, on the bit which is going to touch the ground, mainly because you've seen the fields which we fly in, and they're awful. One of them was like a lake on the weekend, and the other ones are just filled with poo, in short. So I would put some tape on the places which are going to most likely touch the ground. But as far as laminating it, I don't think it really needs it because unlike EPO, like the big Sky Hunter, for example, which would is a much softer foam, this stuff is very tough. So, Riff, good question. No, I don't think it actually needs it. I'm not saying it wouldn't be better with it, because LAM would help the rigidity of a model. But I just don't think that this foam's pretty dense as it is. It's very, very, like, stupidly, you cannot even go down about 2 or 3 mils when really, really pushing that foam in. So, yeah, I don't think it needs it, to be honest. It just needs protection from dirt and knocks in the right places, if that makes sense. A good question there, Riff, to say the least. Quickly looking at your chat as well. Good morning, Austin, as well. You were missed at the flight line on Sunday, sir. Next topic is Bonsai. I got that up on the screen. There we go. Bonsai. Oh, there's a couple of just very quick points I want to pick out. Right, so you can see that there. Right. See the gap? See the propeller? Picture on there? That's a 50 prop. That's a 60 prop. But then it does say in the description that it does come with a 60 by 40, but that's not a 60 by 40 prop, which they've got in the image. And the other little minor detail which I'm going to pick out is they say an 18 amp ESC with an XT60 connector installed. It's a funny looking, that one there, XT60. I'm hiding behind it. There we go. It's a funny looking XT60 connector to me, so I've got to go and cut that off and solder it up today. And also, there's a real strange oddity which I picked up in the live chat. Is can you see? I'm trying to find something to poke at. There. Look, the connectors don't go all the way in the holes. So you're then potentially left with those little connectors, which, to be honest, I don't actually think, and I'm being picky, but they don't all go in the holes, and they don't actually stay in there very well. So I'm in two minds. Do I get a pair of wire nippers out and just cut the ends off, which is probably not the best idea, or do we make sure the motor spins the right way and then put sellotape around them? I don't know. If you go for one of these, probably just put some sellotape over those connectors, because they don't fit all the way in the holes, which is a bit of a disappointment. Besides that, yesterday, my question really was for you, was that the original Bonsai was about 30 quid, and the components, the servos and the motor and the ESC does bring the price up. So these are about 50 quid now, I think, he says. Yeah, 50 quid. Is that, whereas before, was it value for money because you had a kit and you could put your own components in there, whereas now you have to buy it with the components because they don't have a kit version available. Yeah, I presume there's going to one's going to come out in the future. Yeah, that is a bit of a strange one. Is it? Are these components worth an extra 20 quid? Yesterday I worked out, yes, they were. An 18 amp ESC, decent branded one as well. I used that Yep, or a similar, a bigger Yep product and a different model, and it's been flawless for me. It does include 2 servos and a motor, and it was pretty much part built when it turned up, so that's happy days on that front. But I know that for some of you, you're going to go, what? It's 50 quid, like $70. That's a lot for what is a pot wing. And the reason why it feels like a lot is because it is a lot compared to a previous kit which didn't have any components in it before. So that is going to be a struggling point for the Bonsai. We do have a big question mark about how pokey these things are as well. Again, just if you look at the video from Hobby King and then compare it to the video, say, from Painless 360, those guys are spinning it around the sky really quite happily, and the Painless 360 is much more relaxed, and it may be just be a different flying style. I don't know. We'll find out very shortly. If we get a break in the rain today, I do intend getting this one out and chucking it for some poops and giggles. So I will keep you updated in the Facebook group on this one. One thing, this office absolutely stinks this morning. E6000 glue all the way along the leading edge and on the bottom as well. And I do believe that I will be putting some extra carbon along the leading edge as well. Mainly because I feel that it needs it because of my flying style, and also this nose is very, very delicate for my flying anyway. So yeah, we will be modding this one up, but yeah, I kind of like it, and it's gonna be curious to see how well it flies in the sky. Oh, I went for the lime green version, that's a very funny lime green, and yes, I am being picky. Anyway. Right, quickly move to your chats as well. Filters of poo. Yes, absolutely. Good morning, Joe, as well. Mark says, 2 faults on the Bonsai. I put 2 thick orientation stripes on the bottom, and 3 propeller prop is way quieter. So, Mark, I would agree with you with the stripes on the bottom. That would definitely help. This is coming from somebody who got very disorientated with the Excalibur a short while ago on its maiden. Literally just lost orientation 3 times in one flight. It was not good. So came straight home and put some black stripes along the bottom. I do feel that that's not a bad idea, to be honest, Mark. Yeah, a bit of stripe at either end. And maybe one in the middle. That would definitely help with orientation. I'll give this one a punt as is, and if I do struggle, then I'll put some spray paint on it. It would be very, very quick, because all it's going to be is just a bit of masking tape and a can of spray paint. But we'll see. That's an interesting point, Mark. I'll pick that up to see if I felt disorientated with it. And again, this is also where I need to put my hand up and say that I made a mistake, is because I do feel that I should have separated out the chat about the Bonsai from the Harrier, because there were some serious chats in that live episode about the Bonsai, because there was that chat where I said, well, normally I wouldn't suggest that a model like this would just not be a good model as a second model. But I think it was my second or my third model. And I have so many fond memories of flying and not good and not very good with the Bonsai that I would hate for you to miss out on that. So, yeah, there was a serious chit-chat, which I said, well, maybe if you were looking for a second model and you really want something to challenge yourself with, that thing's absolutely skits. and if you're prepared to, you might kill it beyond belief, and then yeah, go for it, because I have had personally so much fun experience with my own bonsai. I only have one wall hanger model in this office, and it is my first bonsai. Everything else I don't care about. I got rid of a load of models a short while ago, but my original bonsai, which I don't even fly anymore, had been sat up there on the wall, and every time I looked at it and smiled, because I've had so many good times with it, and so many batteries and so many landings. It has good memories associated to it. So yeah, it's the only wall hanger which I've got. Right, moving on. Good morning, Van Gogh, as well. Right, next topic is where's my right tab? Sidewinder is apparently being released very shortly. It's in the global warehouse. It's coming out, hitting the UK and Europe, probably the US quite soon. Looking forward to that one. When it comes in, I'll buy it and we'll see if it's any good. What else did we have a chat? What was it? Oh, what the? Right. Yes, last night in the Facebook group, I posted a photo or a screenshot of a 45 to 55 day delivery. Now, you can hardly see that. There we go. There. I wasn't making it up. It really is 45 to 55 days delivery for a Skywalker Smart. I almost spat coffee everywhere when I read that. Absolutely nuts. Right. And now that brings us on to the last two topics which we've got, because I can delete that one off. The last but one topic is still no effing ads. Now, as sure as many of you already know, is that we don't run adverts on this YouTube channel. We do technically run adverts on some videos here, some of the much older ones. And I may end up sticking adverts on the iNav series as well, mainly because that series has annoyed me for a couple of different reasons, which is definitely a topic for a different day. I'm sure most of you know from the Facebook group some of my annoyances with that series, and if I put my hand up, I actually genuinely wish I didn't actually publish it or create it in the first place. I do class that as a mistake which I made a short while ago. Which is a bit of a shame, but it's just the way it is, and that's me being brutally honest. Anyway, no ads. Now, as many of you know, that a short while ago, a couple of months, well, say a couple of months, just before Christmas, I think, I made the decision to. I was approached by several different companies about sponsorship of one shape or form on the YouTube channel, and none of them I felt particularly comfortable with, because I do like this unbiased approach. So for example, maybe Hobby King sent us a couple of products. Okay, well, maybe they sent us a Sidewinder or a couple of Sidewinders or something like that. Then it does make it a bit awkward for me to be saying the Sidewinder is pretty good and Hobby King's not bad, when on the other hand we have a Super Kinetic which is an absolute steaming turd poo. So it does make things very awkward. So I don't like being put in a position like that, and I do very much enjoy the freedom which I get given, which is that I'm on your side of the table. I buy the products, we review them. If they're any good, they're good. And there has been some disparity between those products which have been turned out to be free and those which have turned up here. There has been a few incidents over the past year. And there's no way which you can say that free stuff does not influence you. You can be a very good reviewer, and there are people out there, Sir Bruce for example, who has tons of experience and many examples where he has annoyed people where they've sent him free stuff and the review has not been that good, and that does put him in an awkward position. Well, Bruce doesn't really give a shit, to be honest, but it can be a little bit awkward, and I don't want to be put in that position. So I kind of put the idea of sponsorship out the window, but the channel has been self-sponsored. I'll get to my point. So the one step which I made last year is that what happens if I made up my own site and then that site sponsored the channel instead? it's still self-sponsorship, and I still get 100%. It's a kind of sponsorship, but I still have 100% freedom, and I couldn't see anything wrong with that. So I am a couple of months down the road. I am several $1,000s in the hole for it, but I am currently sat on a website which allows you as an RC hobbyist to, number one is that I've written many, I'm not going to say lots, I've written many reviews, handwritten reviews for many different products, and combine that with the video stuff which I've been and done. I've also included one of the key features is price tracking. When is the right time to buy a Harrier, for example? Has this model always been $69.99 since it's been out, or has it not been? Okay, has it been on sale? For example, like on the Hobby King website, is that personally right now I refuse to buy a Radjet until I see it on sale again for £28 with a motor, because they were on sale once many moons ago for being on sale for £28 with a motor, because I know that because Dave bought one. So how do you know these items are a good value for money? Did you know it's the right time to buy? Or you know that it's about right, it's a couple of dollars up compared to a couple of months back. It's a good price. I'll just buy it now because I don't want to wait for it to go on sale. So there's a couple of other core features as well. Battery pickers, being able to find items by the filters which I would want, the filters which you would want to be able to nail down on products. So it's not been an easy journey, but we are getting there, and we're not that far away from it being released now. And also, I completely nerded out on it. It does run in the sub 1 second page load time as well, which I'm absolutely flabbergasted by. It's all been written from scratch, the ground up, which is just been a challenge which I wanted to do. Yeah, sub 1 second loading site. It's faster than Amazon, Amazon's main site, which is something which I'm very proud about, to say the least. So, and it's scalable. It's all put in Amazon AWS as well. There's some nerdy stuff. I've enjoyed the experience. It has been a challenge for me. We are a couple of weeks away from it being launched, so do be fully prepared that at some point in the future, you will be seeing me saying this episode is sponsored by XYZ, and then knowing in the back of your head that actually that's Matt's form of sponsorship to enable my comfort zone is the words which I'm looking for. Anyway, quickly move into your chat as well, because I know that I've been chatting a bit on there. Yeah, kind of like Camel for RC stuff, but better, because you can actually find stuff, and you're not going there with a specific product in mind necessarily. You can hunt for them as well. And the last one, which is, again, I've got to put my hands up. When I make a mistake, I like to say that I made a mistake. I picked up Steve comment. I'm sure you've seen the video, the landings episode, which has been here in the background for the last 5 minutes or so. Is that Steve put that comment in the Facebook group. I laughed when Steve wrote that. I do feel that for Steve, you personally, okay, this is aimed just at you, I thought your post was very, very amusing, and I wanted to thank you for posting that in the Facebook group, because it went on and spurred that video, which is a video which I've been meaning to make for so long. And I really did want to say thank you, and I didn't take it the wrong way. I took it exactly the right way, and it was just the nudge which I needed to be able to make a video like that, which did have a very serious tone to it, which is that don't actually need to be that serious about it. In short, this hobby, and it's all about having a bit of fun. So, Steve, I wanted to say a massive thank you to you for that one. Right, with that said. Brad, the series is back up, by the way. Right, so it's time for us to recap what we've been and covered here in this morning's RC Coffee Chat. First of all, it was My Little Pony, which is sat over there. The mini Skywalker, brilliant little fun. If you've never owned one or never seen one flying, have a look on YouTube for one. They are really, really good fun and super cheap as well. Less Than Super was the Less Than Super Kinetic, which I do class as that it's been designed to fail. I think it's got too many issues on there, which somebody must have realised a long time ago that that model was flawed, and it's still been available for sale. It is just nuts. The other topic which we discussed was where's all the foam gone? Literally, for the last couple of months, we have been very desolate on new models kicking around. Like the Harrier was released several months ago, but it was only actually made available to being shipped out 2 weeks ago. There has been a severe lack of foam. Hopefully, things have changed now. We are starting to see some new foam being released. The Harrier, for one. We've had the new Bonsai, and we have the, whatchamacallit, forgotten its name now, Sidewinder, coming out very shortly. I'm frankly grateful for any and all new foam, especially of the wing variety. I like wings, to say the least. What did you think of the Harrier? That was a discussion, or like a little bit of chit chat about the Harrier. I am gonna, priority number one is to get the Bonsai flight worthy, and then I'll have a little bit more of a serious look at the Harrier. Also look out for an episode shortly about a chit chat at the workbench, one of the calf ball episodes, and still nobody's been and guessed what calf ball stands for. There's been some good guesses though, and we'll have a chit chat at the workbench. Sorry, I just remember what it says, what it means. We'll have a chit chat at the workbench about the big Sky Hunter as well. Now, I've been pestered by several of you to get the big Sky Hunter out into the sky, and that one's not that far away. I've actually done all the hard work, all the wiring looms are in, and it's been laminated as well. It's just the electronicals which needs to go in and get fitted, and the vector getting set up as well. So do look out for an episode for that. We also spoke about the Bonsai 2, couple of little niggles, but remember, we always hold our final judgment on these things, or on any model, until we get it out into the sky. The other one is, Sidewinder is going to be released very shortly. Really looking forward to that one. Again, there was a lot of promise on that one from last year, and frankly, I do feel that I was disappointed about it not being released last year, and I'm sure it was the same way for you too. There was a lot of promise in that wing, and it wasn't released. So I do feel a little bit disappointed that it wasn't released last year. But maybe that was a good thing. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what it flies like. And yeah, as soon as it turns up in the UK warehouse, I'll get one ordered. And we'll take it out for a damn good racking. Really looking forward to that. Then we saw the Skywalker Smart with 45 to 55 days delivery. I don't know. Couldn't believe it when I saw it. Then we spoke about self-sponsorship and no effing ads. No, I'm not apologising for that one. That has a serious underlying tone, because YouTube channels need to pay for themselves in one shape or form or other, and sponsorship is a viable method, and it has come up that it could be a method for this channel, and I just didn't feel that comfortable with it. So this is my solution to that issue, which is to self-sponsor on a different way, and in a way which everybody wins, which I like. So we will be doing that very shortly. And then we spoke about Steve as well. So Steve, thank you for putting that in the Facebook group. And Steve, we will need to thank Steve, because he's the one which prompted that video, which you can see over there, about the Laugh Together with Landings episode, which I desperately needed to get out, because sometimes some people can take this hobby far too seriously, and it doesn't need to be like that at all. Obviously, if you want to over-nerd yourself and things, well, that is part of the hobby. The part of the rest of the hobby, which I'm sure most of you watching this are really into, it's the fun bit, it's the enjoy piece. Anyway, it's time for me to go. Brad says, yes, 2017 was the year of the foamies. I think that's probably the best analogy of the year. We had a lot of foam released last year. A lot of foam. To the point is, like I said, the last couple of months has felt like really bad. There's been really not a lot going around at all. So, and it has been very, very noticeable. Jim, better late than never. I've just seen your comment above my head. And it is time for me to go. So on that note, from myself, Matt, I would like to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to watch this advert-free RC Coffee Chat. If you have any questions or comments about anything which we've been and covered here today, you can either ask those in the comment section underneath this video, or you can nip across to the Facebook group, and I'll save you from that one. But do look up, like, but if you want to see the, I'll get this one edited up later. The mini review-ish on the Wingnetic. Sorry, not the Wingnetic, the Kinetic. You notice I didn't mention Super because it's not Super in there. That is in the Facebook group. Just look it up in there, and there's a link to that in the video description. Just hit the join button on the right-hand side, and one of us will pick up your request later this morning. And on that note, it's time for me to go. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this episode. I'll see you again shortly. I need to find the stop button. There it is. Cheerios!